Thank you very much. So, I was not expecting this many people in the room, I'll be honest. Maybe 5, 10. So if I start bumbling, it's because there's so many people here who want to listen to my little breakout session. So just to give you a quick idea, I'm Nicki, and I work down at Short Breaks, and I've been there for 8 years now. I was recruited straight into Short Breaks, which is a side of the business that sells theme parks and theatre breaks. Before that, I've worked for a few different companies, Disney, Kantar, and a company that is one of the biggest in the world no one's ever heard of, called Baker Hughes. And I've done a few different things in that time. Now I'm on UX. So, just to give you a quick idea how we can all contribute to being UX. So UX as a function has existed in some shape or form in Short Breaks since its formation. It's been in web, marketing, various different positions around the business, but we have always had a particular function to serve. UX are not a self-fulfilling team. We can't do anything on our own. We have to harness the expertise of colleagues and those who work closely with partners, those that talk to our customers, and those who ship code. And we need to operate symbiotically with all of those teams to leverage on their expertise and iron out pinch points as early on as possible. This core behaviour has helped Short Breaks to grow into the business that we know and love. The important thing to note that design and user experience is not exclusive to the UX team. So UX do design, right? Well, we are designers of a type, but design is not exclusive to our role. User experience is everyone's responsibility. All users matter, and that's internal or external. And everyone can have an idea on designing a solution. How many of you in the room have noticed an issue on the site that you think you could change and make a difference in a positive way to the customer? So this goes to show that not everyone who put their hands up just then were designers. So, wait, everyone can design? Rob, that's for you. So user experience is everyone's responsibility. All of our users matter. And we need to consider that when a design has been created in isolation, it goes into development without that full holistic UX consideration. The upshot is that the solution that comes out is likely to have holes. Holes from legal changes and holes from historical tests. These holes become issues that require UX to come and investigate and make recommendations for change. And they can detrimentally affect the user journey if they're shipped. So, when UX carries out or consults on design work, we consider design, research, data, and internal and external business strategies, which means that all of these issues could absolutely be mitigated by bringing UX up front and collaborating at the first stage. So this is cited from the Design Management Institute. It's well documented that organisations that figure out that designing great products and solutions is a responsibility of everyone will have a huge advantage over the competition. And it's true. Collaborative design really drives value. And it's what it's all about, teamwork. Working with data and web, content and marketing, partnerships, commercial teams, and the people on the ground, the people in the call centre, during these initial design phases will give us the perfect holistic solution. So, and UX can absolutely help facilitate that. But more about that in a second. So this is very high level, I appreciate that. But this is a fairly big bite of bad UX. If you're about to deliver a solution and something's not quite right, UX will probably be able to identify the issue, but by then code has been written, lots of testing has been done, and it's got to that point where someone's gone, this is not right. So what works best all round is take a step back to mitigate that solution, bring UX in, and we can outline the problem, and then we can help you try to solve it. Even better than that, is bring UX right out front. And then everyone wins at UX. So doing that allows recommendations for a different approach, primarily to researching and prototyping. We can run ideation sessions, carry out analysis, conduct user research, which is massively informative. And by doing this, we can't guarantee that the solution is completely bulletproof, and no one should ever say that a solution is bulletproof, and if they can, then get them to do the lottery, because it's unheard of. But we can learn early. And more importantly, we can learn before we ship one line of code. So, in the end, it's not about what one person believes is right based on their point of view. It's about building right solutions based on the skills and expertise of the people within the business. And I've been guilty of this. Hands up, how many of you would have said that you think or feel something isn't right? Yeah. So last year I wrote a blog post about the challenges of opinion-driven solutions, which when you say it actually sounds terrible. And this is the simplest way to explain our UX strategy. Data is defined as facts and statistics collected together for reference or analysis. Opinion is defined as view or judgment formed about something, not necessarily based on fact or knowledge. So UX will always lean on the data to drive that solution, never the opinion. So, let's take a minute. Back to the teamwork. We need to think about how our teams work together. Rosie Manning's article quoted this, which I thought was perfect. Collaboration means bringing different minds and different skill sets together in a way that doesn't make assumptions about what someone is or isn't good at. And collaboration really fosters a culture of bringing together people based on their knowledge and experience and enable autonomous working. The outcome? Well, the outcome is that each team member becomes a key component to the success of the design work by working as designers. They also become invested in the solution and will be instrumental to carrying this solution forward. So, whilst the concept of UX was born out of noble reasons, most organisations set up their UX teams with people without the skills to execute or desired end result, or the means to solve that problem themselves. What's important is not what titles are used, but rather building teams around the skills needed to build successful products. Great teams that break down the silos and engage everyone. So anyone who knows this slide is absolutely showing their age. I'm just going to say this. But driving design forward is a challenge. When the right minds are working together, it creates momentum in teams, and in many cases the teams overlap a user-centered approach with a production-orientated mindset. The result is you have design documents that are meant to push forward together, but many of these documents will prevent collaboration and create a divide between those that design and those that make decisions. So UX are definitely here to help. We can act as your design practitioners to help guide the teams on the options and support on how best to utilise tools and processes, leaving everyone to be part of creating a great solution. So finally, everyone is passionate about our product, and rightly so. Each of us strives to get the best possible solution out and making something we're all collectively proud of. We should also build off the ideas and start from anywhere within the business and shape them into something amazing that can be enjoyed by our users. And double finally. UX is never optional. Otherwise, who are you shipping for? Thank you very much. I'd like to invite any questions.
We're on the content team, and we have found it hard to be at the forefront of people's minds and getting there early on, like you said, with bad UX. How have you got to the start of the conversation rather than coming in too late?
In terms of content, it's so just to paraphrase for the guys in remote, is making sure that content is considered at the same point and we can wrap that in with UX. So essentially from our point of view is making sure that we have those conversations with the people that need to be spoken to, and it won't necessarily be the entire content team. We'll have one delegate potentially from each of the most relevant teams that are needed for that project, and have those conversations early on. Even if it's over a coffee, it's just ironing out whether or not it's going to increase the involvement of their is needed, and what they can bring to the conversation. So it's a level playing field for everyone, and it's just all the combined minds, all their combined sort of priorities, all working together. And as I say, this could be over a coffee, and it could be in the kitchen, and then it sort of rolls out from there. But it's just making sure that those conversations keep happening as well as things roll on, so that everyone's really fully informed of what's going on.
Mine's kind of a similar question, but we don't. So I feel like here, this could just be a personal, but good. But we don't. Like, how do you manage the need for like to ship fast, and balance that with the time taken out to conduct very necessary like user experience testing and all that kind of stuff. I find that we are struggling to find the time to do both. But it sounds like you guys actually have figured out a way of doing it at short breaks, and it's something that has been brought into. I just wondered sort of where you started and how you've been able to make it a success down there.
So essentially for anyone who doesn't understand the distinct difference, so you've got your HX design team and you've got the UX team down in short breaks, and although we cross-com, our functions are quite different in ways. So our partners are really keen to make sure that we deliver the best possible thing up front. So where some companies will be quite reactive, and we can be quite reactive in the things that we ship and the need to ship code fast, there has certainly been a learning for the amount of iterations we have to do after that to then bring it back to the point that we were trying to solve it the offset. So by having things like the user testing sessions we did for Merlin, that was massively invaluable because it highlighted things that potentially they hadn't even considered, and it throws a completely new element into the mix, and it gives us that data. So actually having that data up front is hugely beneficial for them to make an informed decision, rather than saying we want X delivered and we want it done in 2 weeks. We can say there's a problem with this because we'll need to test this in front of customers, this will have pinch points, and then we can come back with recommendations. It doesn't work in every case because of course we need to ship code fast, that is the culture. But at the same time, there are points where we need to really, really hone in on the fact that users are the people that we need to look after. So it's making sure that we stand their ground. Thank you.
I'm just wondering, how do you measure and define success? How do you define whether something's good UX or bad UX?
So from our point of view, defining what good UX and bad UX is a lot of keeping an eye on the market, looking at competitors, seeing personally how we feel about things that are going on the web, listening to our teammates and seeing what they say about things that have recently been delivered. And it's only, I mean, our QAs do an amazing job, like going through the usability of our sites and actually highlighting a lot of things at that point. But actually when it goes out into the wild or when it goes into the call centre, they're like the key people who can actually come back and say, this really doesn't work for us. So if it doesn't work for us, it won't work for our users. And the benefit of that is that we can really learn from the people in-house before it even goes out the door. The other issue is that obviously in terms of metrics, we have our own in-house reporting team. So we work massively with them to try and make sure that anything that we put out is tested against a control. So that we have the numbers to say, this increased search to book, this increased stage conversion, various other bits and pieces. So that's really helpful to help us validate our work and our theories, but also helps us to move on to the next thing or move on to the next iteration rather than procrastinating over that current solution. Hello.
Hi, my question is, do you think that, we heard the talk from the email team this morning, and do you think that you and that team could work together on the email side of things as well as the sites?
Yeah, so email is very much an unsung hero for HX, and we don't talk about it down in short breaks. We don't talk about email. So we definitely should. And we could learn an awful lot. And I was talking to Thomas, who's our lead front end developer, and he was like, "This is mind blowing. We could definitely learn of this." So I think that we need to have like a holistic team kind of get together and share our learnings, because definitely we can harness on that. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Oh, hello.
Obviously, like, considering UX is quite a broad term, I mean, if there was like one thing you'd like people to start doing like from today, like, what would that be?
It is a very broad thing. So UX is a broad thing, and if I could get anyone doing any one thing from today, and I guess it depends on what you do on a day-to-day, but it's just remembering who you're shipping for. You might be writing code, and you might be trying to make sure that your code is perfect and it passes all the tests and does all the things that you wanted it to do based on that task that you've been given. But if it doesn't work for the customer, then it won't work out in the world. So it's just making sure that you think about the customer all times.